أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم بسنة الدين أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Dear brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to our Friday night Halaqa, every Friday night from 7 to 7:45. And today we have a special guest and special program. As you all know, inshallah, we have a guest speaker, and the topic is also very interesting. And just to let you know, the format of today's program is that, inshallah, the speaker will be speaking and presenting their information. Then at the end, you all can, inshallah, post your questions in the comment box, and then I will display those questions on the screen so the Sheikh see them and then answer those questions. Wa alaikum assalam, sister, welcome. So our topic today is the dangers of vaping and drugs, and for that we got a very, alhamdulillah, specialist Sheikh who has, I would say, done plenty of presentations on this topic. And he's joining us from far away in Long Island. We have Sheikh Ibad Wali with us. And just a brief introduction about our guest speaker, Sheikh Ibad Wali. He's the Executive Director and Resident Scholar of Hillside Islamic Center, as well as an Alim course instructor at Darul Uloom, New York. He's also on the board of directors for CARE New York, and he's also part of the New York Majlis Ashura and the resident scholar over there. Sheikh has completed the rigorous 7-year Alamiya program in 2011 with many Ijazas scholars. So we are very delighted to have him join us thanks to this technology. Even though our masjid is so far away in Bud Lake, at least 2 hours away from his masjid. I've been to his masjid. He very graciously invited me before COVID, and I know it took me 2 hours to drive all over there. But thanks to this technology, we can zoom him in, inshallah. We can be enlightened with his knowledge, and our kids and children tonight, inshallah, can really benefit from this presentation. So without further delay, inshallah, over to you, Sheikh Ibad. Please,
Jazakallah khair. Imam Jawad, it's always a pleasure being with you, spending time with you, and I'm honored to be presenting this for your community. Just like to clarify that I'm an expert in terms of presenting this material, but not firsthand, just the knowledge of it I have. I have not experienced any of it, so alhamdulillah. But that's not to put anyone down that may be dealing with it. I just want to make that clear. The idea of this presentation is for everyone who knows about it, does not know about it, has not used it, is thinking about using it, or has used it. So this is something, general information, and inshallah, to get us all on the same page, parents and children primarily, and to remove that gap, that void in communication within our own homes. And that's the objective. So inshallah, that's the framework. Let's get into it. Vaping and drugs. And of course, we begin everything. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فأما من أوتي كتابه بيمينه فيقول هاؤم اقرءوا كتابيه إني ظننت أني ملاق حسابيه. وقال تعالى في مكان آخر وأما من أوتي كتابه بشماله فيقول يا ليتني لم أوت كتابيه ولم أدر ما حسابيه. صدق الله العظيم. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the book of deeds, and the reason why this is important before I begin the topic is because we need to know what our objective is in life. If we have that objective there, then the presentation will make sense. If we don't have the same objective in our life, then the presentation will not make sense. So there is some level of prerequisite that I am assuming you and I have in common, and that is that we believe in the day of judgment, we believe in the day of reckoning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala holding our account of deeds and presenting it to us, the malaika bring it forth to us, where we will receive it in our right hand, or we will receive it in our left hand. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to receive it in the right hand. And on that day, as he captures it in Surah Al-Haqqa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala presents to us, he whose record is given to him in the right hand will say, Ha umuqra'u kitabiya, lo, read my record, because out of joy and excitement, verily I was sure that I would be handed over my account. So the knowledge of I will have this account on the day of judgment was there, and that drove me to do the right things and make the right choices in life. In another place, after a few verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, as for him whose record will be given to him in his left hand, he will exclaim, would that I had never been given my record. I wish I had never seen this book. I wish I was not alive here to have this book given to me, and had not known my account, because the decisions were wrong. So this is a prerequisite before we get into vaping and drugs. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in this verse, and again, this presentation itself was a 2-hour presentation. It is a 2-hour presentation. I'm going to condense the material, so I'll be skipping, going into the nitty-gritties and details, and trying to cover as much as possible. So please bear with me and take note of any questions that you may have, and feel free to ask them, inshallah. Once I'm done, take a note of them as we're doing them, as we're going over these slides. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-A'raf that, and most certainly have we destined for hell many of the jinn and men who have hearts with which they fail to grasp the truth. لَهُمْ قُلُوبٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ بِهَا. They have hearts, but they cannot grasp the truth with it. وَلَهُمْ أَعْيُنٌ. That they have eyes, but they fail to see. لَا يُبْصِرُونَ بِهَا. وَلَهُمْ آذَانٌ. They have ears, but they fail. لَا يَسْمَعُونَ بِهَا. Fail to hear. أُولَٰئِكَ الْأَنْعَامُ. These are like animals. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes like cattle. بَلْ هُمْ أَضَلُّ. No, they're worse. So what is the connection here? It's a very interesting setup how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins by talking about the heart, and then talking about the senses around which human beings use our senses, and how that impacts our heart, right? And this is a very deep connection in terms of, if you look at the Quran, and in just this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, lahum qulubun, that they have hearts, la yafqahun. They don't understand, they don't comprehend. But we know that we don't think with our heart. We know that we think with our mind. The faqaha, right? Man yuridillahu bi khair yufaqihu fi din, that whoever Allah wants good for, He gives them or her understanding of the deen. Understanding comes where? Here in the intellect. So why is the heart being mentioned? Because ultimately, the knowledge can be here, but if there's no light of guidance, then the selection from that knowledge that a person has will be guided in the wrong way. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions even in the Quran, يُذِلُّ بِهِ كَثِيرًا وَيَهْدِي بِهِ كَثِيرًا. You have people who know the Quran better than Muslims, but their selective approach to it, they're misguided because hearts are not illuminated. So how does one illuminate the heart? It's not a mystical thing. It's not a something that is metaphysical. It's a very real thing. And how is that done? Through the senses. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا. These individuals who remember Allah when they're standing, sitting, reclining. And what do? They think and contemplate over the creation of Allah. They apply their senses, use their eyes, ears, senses, taste and smell, and they say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not created this batila. It's not in vain. There's a reason behind it. And right there in that moment is the heart being illuminated with the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So again, a deep connection between the mind, the heart, and how the senses are used to navigate the decisions made with the illuminated heart or lack thereof, or with the information that is in the mind. Okay, how is that again connected to vaping? We'll see. What do you know about e-cigarettes and vaping? Just ask yourself that brief question and think, what do I know? All right, and if you can list a few things, usually when I have a huge gathering, we talk about this, people present their things, and we allow this conversation to develop as a two-way rather than one-way conversation, one-way presentation. So think about it briefly. Let's move on. Here are the numbers, and what we're looking at here is tobacco product use among high school students. This is really important. Any tobacco product, if we look at any tobacco product, approximately one third of high school students, if if your child or if you are in 9th grade to 12th grade and there are 3 people walking, statistically speaking, 1 out of these 3 children are using tobacco. These are the numbers in front of us. And e-cigarettes predominantly, 27.5% of the youth in high school are using tobacco, and specifically tobacco through e-cigarettes. If you look at teens using vaping devices in record numbers, here they are: 8th grade, 17.6%, 10th grade, 32.3%, and 12th grade, whopping 37.3% of 12th graders are using these vapes. Again, numbers that are hard to digest. And as we will see, why this phenomenon has taken off. And we're actually behind. We're trying to catch up on the curve. And here is the beginning, historically, and these slides will be shared with you, inshallah, as a PDF format for you to look at. I'm not going to go into the details of this, but there's an entire history behind the creation of this, who invented it and came out a safe and harmless method of smoking by replacing burning tobacco and paper with heated, moist flavored air. This was by Mr. Gilbert in PA, Pennsylvania. And then you see a Chinese pharmacist, Han Lik, in 2003, and the different advances in the way this vaping was developed. E-cigarettes, there are multiple types. There's ciga-like, disposables. There's vaporizers, which is called the vape pen, and there are tank systems. And there are definitely even more options out there. So just to give you an image of that, this is what they look like, right? So those are the disposables. These are the vape pens and tank system. And why is this important? Because it's possible. Many parents are, looking around in their house and they're finding these things but don't know what they are. Some of these things are very discreet. They might be right in front of you, in front of your child, and you have no idea what's happening. So it's good for you to be able to identify your older brother or sister, for you to know and guide your siblings. So you need to know what these things look like. Again, another e-hookah, glow, IQOS, and you have these other vaporizers, the different types of styles that are shown here. All right. So they use these cannabis. Okay. What is an e-juice? E-juice is propylene glycol and or glycerin flavoring, and often it's nicotine. There's thousands of flavors available, and that's the e-juice that goes inside all of these things, right? That's what's being vaped. Okay, so it's a condensed version, a liquid form of nicotine, right? That goes in there. So again, some images for you that you can see. This is, again, the e-juice that goes inside these vapes. Can you tell from this picture, this image, which one is candy? Right? If you look at it, you will probably think all of them are candy, and that's the problem. This is done intentionally by the industry, that children who grow up with these, warheads and candies, they make the e-juice containers look exactly like them, and this is a type of psychological preparation for these children to grow up and be comfortable with the product. So that's a huge problem in this industry, and there's a lot we can do, work together, and we can do to create a system and create laws that will prevent companies from abusing this type of marketing strategy. So you take a look at these e-juices and take a look at these candies, and some of them are actually e-juices, but you can't tell. You can't tell which one is what, and that's the deception of the industry. What do you know about the Juul? So it's a question. What do you know about Juul? Right? So some of you are like, I have no idea what that is, and others are like, I know exactly what that is. So let's get into that. And that was a game changer, right? Juul was the game changer in the industry of vaping. 2005, Pax Labs creates America's most popular vape, dubbed the iPhone of e-cigarettes. It's combined sleek design with enticing flavors. E-cigarette Juul. Well, Juul is a type of this brand, this type of e-cigarette that was created, and it took off. And I'll show you exactly what it looks like. It's very deceptive in nature, designed to mimic the physical and sensory experience of a cigarette without looking like one, right? A 1 joule pod has as much nicotine as 1 pack of cigarettes. So if you see this product, this is what it looks like. If that 1 juice, which is on top, that container on top, that has 1 pack of cigarettes. The nicotine that is in 1 pack of cigarettes, that's in that little thing. It looks like a USB, Wi-Fi connection back maybe 5-10 years ago. And you see that it's very deceptive in nature. Someone can have that plugged in, and you do plug it into your laptop. Why? To charge the battery. That's the bottom part of the jewel. And you may have seen this with your child's laptop or a computer, and they might have been charging it right in front of you and not realize that it's not a Wi-Fi adapter, but rather it is a product that is used for smoking nicotine, e-cigarette. All right, this is what it looks like again. So these are the tools of the trade. This is all the products. That's what they look like. And again, that sleek, cool, futuristic-looking thing that people want to have and want to be like others. This is a problem. It's the deceptive nature of this industry. Why do youth vape, right? And we mentioned some of these things. I'm sure these things are coming to your mind as well. Alternative to smoking, to do vaping tricks, to quit smoking, right? A lot of people say, oh, I'm just doing vaping to quit smoking. Friends are doing it to be cool, reduce stress, right? I'm so stressed out. I need to vape, that'll protect us for fun, and it tastes good. That's why I do it, because I just like it, right? Look at the global impact: $6 billion in the global, $6 billion in global industry. That is how valuable this product is, or how much money it makes these industries. 600 brands, 8,000 flavors and liquids. And if you did not know that, in order to remove the hunger from 1 third world country, just to give you a general idea, it would take approximately $2 billion, $2.3 billion to remove hunger from a third world country, obviously depending on size, but on average. So 3 countries with this much money, 1 year, hunger could be removed completely, wiped out from 3 third world countries with that much money, right? And that's why is that important? As Muslims, that's very important to us. That how this money is being wasted where it can serve a higher purpose and serve humanity. E-cigarettes warning that finds increased nicotine addiction among young people. It leads kids to try other tobacco products. So this is a stepping stone. People say, oh, I don't smoke, I just vape. It's a stepping stone. I don't do it. It's not, nicotine is not in there. I just do it for the flavor. It's a stepping stone in that direction. Maybe you're not doing nicotine right now, but you're not using nicotine in this product right now, but again, the barriers are being broken slowly and slowly. Nicotine equals poison. There's insecticide in this nicotine and toxins, and you can look at this information as well later on. But it is generally poison. What are the negative health effects of vaping? Again, you can think about them, but I'll give them to you. And there's a whole list of them: particles, metals, the vapors, the tobacco-specific nitrosamines, and the flavoring, the carbonol, all these poisonings, and there are some unknown effects, and the whole list is there of what it causes: headache, diarrhea, different types of metals in your heart disease, you name it. So all these products, these e-cigarettes, have all this in them. This is a fact, right? Secondhand exposure, that also exists, right? Secondhand is less toxic, but just like secondhand smoking, there is secondhand e-cigarette or vaping. Where is the disconnect? Nicotine is nicotine. Drugs are drugs. Why are youth? That registers mentally, right? Again, going back to the verse. Mentally, I have the information that's bad. It does all these things, all these harms. Why am I still doing it, right? And nicotine is nicotine, but why am I still involved in this? Or why do people want to do it? Where's the disconnect? So it starts off with the marketing. And there are big lies by big tobacco companies, right? E-cigarettes have only used widely since 2007. Most people have heard little about the risks. In actuality, we are all at risk for being lied to by big tobacco with their massive pro-vaping campaign. Who are the big tobaccos? Just go in the bottom: Philip Morris International, British American Tobacco, Imperial Brands, and Japan. These companies, these five giants, Japan Tobacco International and China Tobacco, they've come together for this campaign, right? Because it's billions of dollars, and they deceive the consumer. What do? How do they deceive the consumer? They deceive them from the truth, which is 1 pack of cigarettes is 200 puffs of smoke. It's it's an attractive alternative, right? And they say that it's a minimal byproduct, and these are all lies. The word that they love to use is called it's safer, right? This is the word you'll commonly hear. And you ask someone, why do you vape? They say it's safer. And this is done to psychologically brainwash us through their marketing campaigns that Juul may be safer than regular cigarettes, right? No tobacco or e-liquid product should ever be considered safe, right? And this is on their website. So it's interesting. The marketing campaign makes us think that it's safer, but when you go to their website, you will find that on their own website, they say that this is not safe at all. Vaping is a gateway to smoking. Current research shows that youth who vape are more likely to start smoking cigarettes. So this is research. If it's a stepping stone in that direction. And there are also people that think that they can quit through vaping, but statistically, that is not the case. The research shows that people who smoke cigarettes and go to vaping to start quitting, they end up just going back to cigarettes. All right, same, and that's what's mentioned here. What about e-juice with nicotine? Nicotine affects the brain development. It's an addictive, poisonous, all these negative effects through nicotine. A risk for pregnant women, gene mutation, brain chemistry and functionality causes it harms it, and of course spread of microorganisms, germs via saliva. And obviously during COVID, that's another added negative effect. So the side effects of nicotine are mentioned here. You can go through the list and take a look at it. It affects the blood, lungs, muscular, central, heart, endocrine, joints. It goes on and on. Gastrointestinal. All right. Nicotine greatly enhances the effect of cocaine in mice. Cocaine depends greatly in heavy smokers. Nicotine acts as a gateway drug with the effects of addiction, especially in adolescents. E-cigarettes have the ability to vaporize THC. So that's a lot of information. And what I'm going to try to do is explain it as we go into the science behind it. So in order to understand what's happening, we need to know what THC is first. Tetrahydrocannabinol, right? Take a look at this. All right. You've probably seen that sign many times, but not know what this is about. So cannabis, there's a molecular structure to it. And what we're seeing on the top left in this image is the THC, right, which I mentioned, is the chemical responsible for most of marijuana's psychological effect. It acts much like the cannabinoid chemicals made naturally by the body, according to the National Institute of Drug Abuse. So what's unique here is that what we're reading is it's naturally made by the body. So if something's naturally made by the body, then there should be no harm in it. Well, we have to understand what's happening to us when we do consume this product. And this is where we can separate ourselves. If we educate ourselves, we can separate ourselves from those who don't know what's happening to them psychologically, and then obviously as an effect and mentally and spiritually. If we are able to educate ourselves properly, we will be able to avoid this vicious cycle. So drug abuse is a preventable behavior, and drug addiction is a treatable disease. Again, it's preventable. If someone here is logged on and watching, or whoever is able to listen to this recording, if you are involved with drug abuse, it's preventable. You have hope, right? Don't think that you have no hope. Alhamdulillah, Allah has given you life. He has given you opportunity. And addiction is treatable, all right? It's going to require some effort, but it is treatable, and you can do it. Let's get into the science. Scientists have linked dopamine to most drugs of abuse: cocaine, marijuana, heroin, alcohol, and nicotine. These drugs are all active, all activate the reward system. Where's the reward system? Right here. Right in the center of the brain, you see this it looks like your two weights on the side of it looks like a dumbbell, and this is the reward system in purple right in the center. Okay, it's very important in terms of addiction and consumption of THC and drugs, right? So these drugs all activate the reward system and cause the neurons to release dopamine. So what is dopamine? Let me make it give you an example. Some of the youth come up and talk to me about how they're losing interest in life. They have no motivation to do homework, find any kind of work boring and no desire at all to get ahead in life, and they talk to me that drive is not there. And again, I encourage you to read a book by Dr. Leonard Sachs on boys adrift, and he has specifically highlighted 5 reasons why boys generally are underachieving and have no drive in our society. And his research is of 2-3 decades of research in the Western society. And then he's also written, obviously, Girls on Edge, and why girls have to live up to this because of the media. They have to live up to the standard created by the media, and that's why they're always on edge and anxiety. But again, I encourage you to read it. So that the reason is because he highlights why a person Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed us to produce a certain amount of dopamine in our brain. Why is that? It's a high. It's a type of a high, and it's released when we accomplish something, right? And there's a limited amount that we are given every day. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed us to create this dopamine in our mind, and there's a small amount of it. When we are able to accomplish something, whether we helped someone, helped our parents, whether we did homework, whether we ran a race and we won, or we worked out and we finished the course or the program, or we finished playing a video game, this dopamine is released. What happens is a lot of people who are playing video games, and again, everyone has their own thing that they're addicted to or they are involved in. The dopamine is released, and again, daily you have very little amount. Once that release is done and you are depleted completely, then you try to open your book, your chemistry, biology, Spanish, and you try to do work. You can't do it, right? Because the drive, that release is not there. Oh, I finished this chapter. You don't feel anything because you no longer have that chemical. So that's one of the most significant problems and common problems, is that don't have that dopamine released in frivolous, useless pursuits. Make sure you apply yourself in something where it's going to be released to provide you benefit. So things that used to make you feel good, like eating, ice cream, skateboarding, these also release dopamine. So if a person eats a whole bunch of ice cream, junk food, and they're consuming all this food and delicious food, they're not going to be able to do too well to study while they want to study. They're not going to be able to do too well trying to memorize things, because the drive is gone. The eating consumption of this food, this fatty and sugary food, has released the dopamine as well. This is the image of THC buildups in the area that controls the body's movement, balance, coordination, memory. So it's affecting everything. But where is THC going the most? When you take this drug, and which has THC in it, right? The cannabis that's there, where is it going primarily? As you see in this slide, it's going right to the reward system, right? It's targeting that. So then the THC disrupts your brain's ability to control these activities. It disrupts your brain's ability to feel reward, success, to feel that while you're reading, you feel productive. It disrupts it completely. This is just science. I'm not going to go too much into it. Neurons communicate with each other through network. You get the idea of what's happening inside the brain. Here's an image of a normal functioning brain on top. The first 3 top are a normal functioning brain from different areas of the brain. Then you have a cocaine abuser, and you see how the yellow has disappeared. The yellow are the neurons transmitting signals and lighting up. When you use drugs, it disrupts those signal sharing, and that's why you're not able to use your brain at full capacity. And then if you look at the lasting effects, then you see after 100 days of not using cocaine, this person is still not able to regain, and individuals are still not able to regain their full capacity of their brain to use their brain, and their neurons still are damaged And over time, and again, different people behave differently. It's going to take a long time to recover. So staying away from these type of drugs, these stepping stones. Yeah, it may start with vaping without nicotine, then it'll go to nicotine, then it'll go to cocaine. These are again barriers being broken down slowly. This is the amygdala. Same concept is being lit up in the brain when you see something that you enjoy or you like, and when you don't and you're not enthusiastic, it dies out. So this was a study done with a person who is addicted to cocaine, and they saw that when they showed this person who was addicted to cocaine videos of cocaine, the amygdala started to light up, and that lighting up is where addiction comes from. It's the source of addiction, that a person wants and desires this thing, and that's how the brain lights up, tells him to go ahead and go towards that. All right. So we can call that the waswasa of the nafs, right? If the brain is not trained properly, then that's where the amygdala lights up in for wrong things instead of right things. And that's where the heart plays a role. Impact on society, news reports. How am I doing on time? Okay. News reports on vaping among teens. We know that teenagers are vaping in class. Teachers teaching on the board, and because they're so discreet, you can literally vape in class while the teacher's doing work, and the teacher will not know about it, because it's, again, no scent, no smoke, and people they do it as a dare, and they do it as a joke while in class, and disrespect the teacher to see how they can get away. Before, I remember a teacher mentioning in a high school that before she used to catch 2 people with cigarettes, regular cigarettes in a year, back 10, 15 years ago. And she says now she catches at least 3 people a day. 2 cigarettes in a year versus 3 people with these e-cigarettes and these vapes a day, right? And that's huge. Hospitals see a surge in teens with overdose, and the list goes on, and the moral and spiritual decline is the core of this whole pandemic, right? Islamic guidance on this matter. I'm not going to go through all of this. I'm just going to let you know. Malaysia's National Fatwa Council, Islamic Q&A, Al-Maghrib, islamqa.info, whichever school of thought, scholars of thought, and institutions that you follow, all of them agree it is forbidden, it is haram. So there's no, is it makruh, Sheikh? Is it makruh tahrimi, tanzihi? Is it, what is it? It's haram. It's haram. All right. And we've mentioned clearly many reasons. And again, I'll highlight them as we finish this off, why it's haram. And if you are not able to come to that conclusion through these fatwa, then again, it's the foundation that we need to work on. And we believe that we are responsible for our actions, that we are going to be judged. Every single thing, our moment, our wealth, our time, our relationships, everything. And drugs impact everything. Decrease in wealth, misuse of time, decline in relationships, it affects everything. So Quranic guidance on the spending, minan nasi man yashtari lahu al-hadith, those who purchase frivolous pursuit, enchanting devices, right? These verses of the Quran are telling us about spending, and here there are some human beings who purchase an enchanting diversion in order to lead people away from the way of Allah. This is the big tobacco marketing, and we are following this without having any knowledge, right? And what's going to be the cure? Knowledge. This is what we're doing right now to cure ourselves from this disease. Who hold the call to the way of Allah to ridicule, and a humiliating punishment awaits them. So there's no hope for such people who are continuously involving themselves with frivolous pursuits, enchanting diversions. And here in this, Rasulullah SAW mentions the things that are forbidden. And in the last segment, I'm not going to go through all of them, but the last thing that Rasulullah mentions, the ida'at al-mal, the wasting of the property. The wasting of your property is haram, it's forbidden. Right? So enough proofs. There's enough proofs to let us know that this vaping, cigarettes and all these things, these are haram. These are haram. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But there's hope. There's always hope. Inna al-hasanati yudhibna as-sayyi'at. If you've done it, if you are engaged in something, whether it's cigarettes or some other haram, all you have to do is do something good right away, without delay. That's it. Don't, I'm too dirty, I'm too filthy, I'm too impure to do good. No, that's the problem. That's shaitan's waswasa to stop. to say you're not worthy of Jannah. No, you are as worthy of Jannah as much as you want to be, right? As much as you in that moment, right now, say, yeah, I'm worthy of Jannatul Firdaus. Why? Because right now, in this moment, I want to obey Allah. And if I were to die in this moment, right, as Rasulullah has mentioned, that innamal a'malu binniyat, that all actions are based upon good, your deeds, all actions are based upon your intention. In another hadith, Rasulullah has mentioned, innamal a'malu bil khawatim, that all actions are based upon their ending. So if a person right now was to die, and they may have led a life of sin, although this is not normal, that doesn't happen, but they said right at this moment, say, oh, I astaghfirullah, I seek forgiveness from Allah, and I will do the right thing from right here, right now. This person is going to go to heaven and may even go into Jannah for the highest level, because they died on the statement, on the path, turning towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's all you need, is to say it right now, right here. That's it, right now. And then we need to be human beings that live in the present, because everything that we do is associated with the present. We are not like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who knows the past, present, and the future all in one shot. We have stress, we have grief over the past, and we have stress about the future, trying to change what has happened in the past, we can, and trying to control the future, which we can't, and forgetting what we can do right now. And that is, do something good. Make an intention right now. Okay, I'm going to donate something to the masjid. I'm going to help somebody. Make a good intention. Even that is hasanat, is a good thing. We will wrap up. How can I get help? Seek counseling, research, family, and masjid. The way that you should, we should not be hesitant to get counseling. This is a taboo for no reason. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself got counseling from his own wife. And if you want to look at it, go to the seerah and see who did Rasulullah go to saying zammiluni, zammiluni, cover me, and who was there to counsel him? It was Khadija radiallahu anha. And many companions came to Rasulullah for counseling. Companions came to each other. The khulafa. Counseling has been, we as a religion, is a religion of counseling. A deenun nasiha. We counsel each other. Our whole deen is counseling. So this taboo of, I can't go get counseling, we are going exactly against the fundamentals of our faith. Research, study, family, build a stronger structure within the family and household. That's a topic on its own. And try to participate in the masjid. And I don't mean by just going to pray salah. We have to establish salah. Going to the masjid to pray salah is great, but to go to the masjid to establish salah. And what is that? Build a network, build a system, build some kind of area where you can volunteer and spend time developing the masjid in the community. That is establishing salah. And for those of you who did not know, there is a test. I don't know if Imam Jawad wants to do us to do these 10 questions or not, but there are 10 questions.
We're running out of time.
Okay.
I know you have to also go.
Yes.
So can we take some questions from the audience? There's this one question which says, are there any support groups or ways to stop vaping for those Muslim people who are currently vaping and want to stop it? I guess what he's asking is, do you know or are you aware of some support group or some organization that actually help the Muslim youth, the young boys and girls who are already addicted to it?
So I'm not sure where this youth is from, but the best thing is to form this group. Massages, unfortunately, not every masajid is up to date where they have some kind of support group. Alhamdulillah, at Hillside Islamic Center where I am, we try to have brothers group up with different brothers and create mentors for other brothers. So there's a support group there. But that depends on the activities of your local masjid. And listen, if it's not there, then you be the first one. Create that support group there. And that is the solution. That is the key. What you're saying, the answer is in what you're asking. And that is to create that support group in the masjid. But if you're looking for online help, then what you can do is contact Khalil Center. It's an organization that of Muslim psychologists that you can talk to, and you can try to, some of their work is pro bono. You can talk to them and inshallah get some help and support from there. But that is, an individual one-on-one. In terms of creating a group of brothers that trust each other, that can guide each other and work together, that has to be something that is in your local masjid or musalla that you can start, inshallah.
Yes, brothers and sisters, please post your question in the comment box. If you're on Facebook, you can post it in the comment box underneath. If you're on YouTube, please post your question on the bottom so we can ask the Sheikh. One of the questions that I would ask as a fellow Imam, that are you aware of any person who successfully removed this addiction? Like, did you ever come in contact? Because
Absolutely.
you're working with a lot of youth over there in Long Island, Hillside Islamic Center. So if you can share some success story with us, that will give hope to many of the youngsters who will be watching this program. There are many watching live, many will watch later on as a recording. Please.
Alhamdulillah, a lot of youth in our community, we connect, we create these support groups to talk to each other, and the youth talk to each other, and that has to be there. I can't emphasize that enough. The communication has to be there in order for what I'm about to say to work. It's your friends in the community that you connect with, you operate with, you are daily in contact with. They are there to call you if you're not there for salah, or to ask you what's going on if you don't show up for a while in the masjid. Once that structure is set up, then quitting any of these things, whatever addiction you have, whatever problem you have, it becomes a safe haven. It becomes a moral ground for support, is to have that connection. One of the reasons why people are engaged in vaping and cigarette, because it's a social activity. You need to understand that this is a social phenomenon, right? That's how it works. So if you're with certain people that do this, you can't continue to have 10 friends that are doing it and say, I'm quitting, because you're constantly with them. So you have to figure out, I'm not encouraging you to start dropping friends and start cutting off relationships. What I'm saying is slowly gravitate towards good friendship, good environment, or get the 10 people that are with you that are smoking or vaping to say, why don't we quit together? That is going to work. And that's what has happened. We had 2 youth that were involved in this. We actually, it came up in a discussion where we were talking about our problems, and the youth mentioned that, yeah, we have this issue, and we're not nicotine, it's just vaping. But you know what happens? Like I said, it's a stepping stone. We actually linked them together with another mentor, and they both quit together, and they stay together, and they remind each other, and that's how it's going to work, inshallah.
Inshallah. Please, anybody, brothers and sisters, post your question. I have one question that a parent sent it to me directly, and saying that, Sheikh, can you enlighten us if a parent finds out at home that their son or daughter is vaping, like the devices that you showed right now in your presentation? If a parent signs that device, well, how should they deal with their child?
Right. Let's just take out the common things that we do. Unfortunately, in our culture, in our society, is we stop talking. Right, and that is not a solution to anything. Marital problems: husband stops talking to the wife for years. Wife stops talking to the husband. Lack of communication isn't the solution to anything, and it is not embedded in the Sunnah. Communication is key. Talk to your child. Help them understand. Have a conversation where your emotions are conveyed. Your emotions, not the application of your emotions, meaning you're angry, so you're raising your voice, you're upset, or you don't want to talk at all. No, rather, this is upsetting. Express your emotion, and this is really bothering me, and have a conversation with them, and talk to them. What happened? How did you get the history behind it? Why are you doing it? Do you have some stress in your life? Are you bothered by anything? What are you feeling? What? Have a candid friendship conversation with them to approach this matter, rather than not communicating or ultimatums. Please, ultimatums is not going to solve anything. It's just going to push a person further away. Have a dialogue, and understand that it's because there have been some steps that we were not taking as parents beforehand that led to this. So let us identify those steps and those areas that we perhaps lacked in, and try to connect. And there are also some cases where you took all the right measures, but your child did it anyway. And those examples are in the Quran as well. And so for that, you have to be patient, and you have to work through it, right? Instead of getting upset and giving into your emotions.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh Ibad. Thank you so much for enlightening our community tonight. Yeah, I know it's getting late. We pray Isha at 8 o'clock, so I have to rush to the masjid. I personally thoroughly enjoyed. I wish we had more time and we could have more of that presentation. And inshallah, we will love to have you back again sometime in the future as a part 2 for this with our community. So, inshallah, if you can make the dua to conclude.
Jazakallah khair, Imam Jawad. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and I'd be delighted to come back and participate with the community. Jazakallah khair for all the viewers. Thank you for allowing me to gain in the reward with you in this moment. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina Maulana Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Majid. La ilaha illa Allah al-halim al-karim subhanallahi rabbil arshil azim. As'aluka mujibati rahmatik wa adha'im maghfiratik wal ghanimati min kulli bir was salamata min kulli ithm. La tada' lana dhanban illa ghafarta wa la hamman illa farajta. ولا حاجة هي لقلب إلا قضيتها يا أرحم الراحمين. Oh Allah, grant us the best from this presentation. Oh Allah, allow us to implement that which is good. Oh Allah, anything wrong that has been said, oh Allah, remove it from our accounts. Forgive me, forgive us, and erase it from our memories. Oh Allah, you are the one who is the restorer of all good. Grant us the goodness in this life and the next. اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم المجيد. لا اله الا انت سبحانك اني كنت من الظالمين. لا اله الا انت سبحانك اني كنت من الظالمين. لا اله الا انت سبحانك اني كنت من الظالمين. سبحان ربي وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك. السلام عليكم ورحمه الله.
Ameen. Wa alaikum assalam.